and especially with Talon now having Raze,
Yeah,
Breach,
if anything, I'm
and
looking
then
at that
you have the
thinking
Talon,
maybe
and then
it
you
needs
have
to
the
be
Yoru as
lower.
well with the decos against
Chobra's still
Cypher.
here for
I'm
kickoff.
just not quite sure how
Chobra's here
much
for
value
kickoff, and
Darien
that's
will
it.
be able to find here
Talon
on
on
this
attack,
defense. We're gonna
GE on
see
defense.
just a very, very standard default
Double
setup
Sentinel
just
comp,
to
starting on
try to play
defense.
them into
We
A
got
main, and then
Talon
you've got the 2 stars over by B
embracing
from
the
the Astra
Teo
Poppy,
with a
once
breach,
again
which
being
we love.
tasked with anchoring
And
down
then
a
we
site
got double
on his own.
duelists, and
the Bear Mash is
neither
blocked on mid as well, but Talon does start things
of
off
those
a little bit
duelists are Primi,
Just trying to see if there's any type of push out.
which is an odd way to go for this team. Because I kind of was praising them for the off-season, and they're always making sense. And honestly, that's kind of why I was high up on them.
Obviously takes a while on that pistol round, but they still
Because of
prefer
that.
to keep that
That
open,
is...
and Poppy gets teamed out immediately, and then there's a follow-up in mid
Yeah,
as
we
well.
got stereo frags on B, on mid.
And
then they insta go over towards A. The thing is, there is a wall here, so maybe... Okay, wall goes down.
On that tail, the more I think about it, as we see, it's just a slow
Yeah, I mean,
creep
that's
out,
a
but it's
lovely start.
Kind of distracting Darien, and that's all the Cypher Trips
Yeah, I mean, if we're out here hitting shots like that, we're gonna be enjoying it, and that's a clean way to start off for Talon. Very, very nice. Just aim jaws. Not much I can say about that one. Two individual aim jaws, and then group up, overwhelm.
Off a little bit slow and steady, but the creeps through, being able to find players from GE, you know, I don't think that was fully expected, right?
Nice pistol,
Maybe they
yeah.
baited out, baited out some peaks from GE by, you know, trying to
winning
spam
jaws.
down the Bear Mash and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the crosshair placement there on the replay. It was very clearly Primi just waiting for another peek out because it was going to take so long.
Hey, the buy round. What? The buy round for Talon is a 4-person rifle with a judge on Raze. And this poor Cypher. Whoa! Wait, pick up the judge. Oh, bro. Picking up the judge there and having a smoke to play around would have actually been insane. I have no idea how Darien gets that kill, to be fair. W curse? Yeah, man. Dude, might have been my bad, I guess. Because he should not be winning that.
I mean, GE, yeah, it's 4v5. Yes, it's close quarters. It's
Didn't have enough time for it. See, he went to make a play. Honestly, I think he might have had time. I don't know if it's too... Dude, I don't know if it's too committed. Okay, they lose a judge. I mean, they'd be fine with that.
Trying to flood through elbow, but just everyone from Talon able to read the situation. Of course, you know, with the firepower, why not go for the line of sight and just spam away into screens? It all works out.
Yeah, I think also perhaps not really realizing that it's 4 rifles on top of that judge, right? So their Talon's obviously just able to keep their distance. Nice and calm from Darien. You know, Darien obviously had a bit of a slow start.
The Talon comp doesn't make sense.
He went right back into form.
They...
See if he's able to keep
It's one of those comps that has a lot of weaknesses, but it might be able to have so many strengths that that's okay.
This just destroys any control over mid.
And straight into vents as well, but unfortunately it's going to be...
It's a nice reaction from Kalias on this one. Over towards A as well, they had a fade eye that just cleared everything, so you could see a big lean over towards B right here for them bonus as they walk into B.
Explored the entire setup on B. Obviously you see the stars, but that sonic sensor, you hear it now. Jetboy's going to wait for his team before they break it and go.
It's going to be quite tricky, especially if you aren't fully committing into this. All these stars are going to slow everything down, and it starts off with the gravity well.
No way. Primi sliding out here with the Astra suck. Getting the jewel. Okay, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Only 2 armor rebuys, 1 gun rebuy.
Yeah, this does feel like after losing the Yoru mid, Talon just focusing on saying, okay, we found the sonic sensors. Even with the 3 stars here, we can try to get across. I think the ideal scenario would have been Governor really making it past that gravity well safely so that he can create a crossfire, but he's just going to get taken
this
down
next
as soon
kill's
as
so
he comes
funny.
right back in. He kind of lands on that edge, gets drawn into the center, same with Primi, and that slows down the entire thing. At that point, you don't have much of an option. So they'll have to consider how to draw out that star usage.
Talon has to take space on defense. Yes, you at least, but I mean they can do that, right? You would imagine what it is it's like setting up the Yoru, and then the Yoru can hold space on his own.
Taking that RAM control.
I like this from Talon though. This is why it makes sense, right? We've got to talk about one of the weaknesses of this comp, and it's taking A heaven, and it's like creating pressure to cross A heaven, right? You've got no smokes for A, really. You've got an Astra. You can fake smoke, it doesn't really last long. You can double fake smoke and do a timer that's like a little bit better. But majority of the time, you have like a Cypher or a Viper creating pressure on A, but this Yoru kind of does it on his own. This fake TPing over towards heaven creates a lot of pressure.
Keep Talon trapped over in mid. Now, obviously, numbers not in favor of Global Esports. So do they choose to spread out? I would love to
play
see
from
them
Udatam.
group up together.
What's the timing like from Talon here?
Things upon himself. He wants to get by. He finds one. Can he follow up with two? He gets two as well. Is he ready for the third? He sees him. The Raze 1v1. Governor peeks out.
Absolute beast. This guy is so good. It's gonna be hard for them to
Oh, that's
it's gonna be hard for them to take him off duelist because he looks so comfy. He just frags so heavy. Okay, that is an eco for Talon, and there's like 2 people who can buy an alright gun.
Bit more of the individual performances from this round on the side of Global Esports, right? I mean, noticing that Ben had the gate crash back into its ramps, they actually went back in to clear that out. So taking him down just gave them so many more options. But at the same time, like you mentioned, Yudotan going so aggressive just to take things into his own hands, right? Noting
Thoughts on the Prometeo? Let's give him some time.
Global Esports picks up the round and we're tied up.
It's a bold move having double duelist and not having Premier in there, in my opinion.
How about that pass round as we see another fast hit coming in from Talon?
Stinger though to start it up. We've got a gun at Heaven. We've got Yoru solo creating pressure over towards A again. And I do like the G now has started to get someone aggro over towards A main. I think that is going to be a big factor. Make sure this Yoru just can't insta-TP over towards Heaven and take A on his own. Might have been an overstep, but wins the duel.
Yudotan didn't quite catch sight of Cruz just yet. Cruz is going to close the gap quite a bit.
Yeah, Udatan going to go play with his team more, right?
He's going to back off.
Nope.
This is where he used to shine last week.
Joe gives them a gun, makes it doable.
Down, but numbers still advantage for Global Esports. 2 people already on site.
Knowing where they are as well, up around the pillars. Darren is able to get down to first, but Primi still quite deadly with the Sheriff. Now picks up the Judge. Full as well,
20 HP on this. I think a couple of people on GE could play that one a little safer against the eco. There's like 2-3 moves that I would not be doing against eco, but
not too many plans coming through successfully. Obviously, just aside from the first 2 rounds. And so Talon, they'll have to figure out how they're actually going to break through. Using these salvos, if you want to get mid control, how else are you going to make sure that you're pushing in from one of the sides? Whether it's B main or A main, you got to be able to take a bit more control.
Okay, we got some ults now, and your ult in double dive comp is normally 3 rounds, because this breach utility is going to be perfect, and then the Raze is going to jump on them, and then you would imagine there's some kind of damage on the floor. I feel odd about this, but
the smokes are blocking so much of it off. Ben is able
they all tank a grav net.
Here comes the net, and it
okay, I'm about to flame Talon a little bit after this round.
To stay alive, Nightfall gets sent out as well.
And you know there was only 1 Heaven, so you know that the main force still should have been main, and you're able to reclaim B Heaven as well. Great hold from Global Esports. That barrier mesh really just slowing down the entire team. Ban decided to come out from his ult.
Quick mid-round decision.
Trading with Ban.
Trying to kind of transition over onto the A site, and GE does make a good
I'll explain it in a sec.
Splitting their defense is 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2 is the way you have to go right now when it's a 4v4, just trying to get some more information. You still have some semblance of delay, especially with the C still available from Crystal. But just because of the focus they had, all right, Haunt goes out. You should be able to regroup over by the A side, but they just don't have information. They decide, okay, we're just going to leave Darren on his own. He's just going to have to anchor. Crystal, does he wait or does he go for a timing spam here through the smoke? Just going to hold.
Wait, yeah, for
there's some low HPs.
Meanwhile, Darren's desperately on his camera trying to spot them out. Definitely finding them towards the back of screens up. It's a little bit too late. It's all up to Crystal, who has to push up a little bit further. Now manages to take
that was one of the high HPs as well. Cruz needs to... I mean, it pretty much comes down to Cruz.
Look at Primi as well.
Primi loved the off angle from him. I think he might overextend, but...
Just waiting in case they do peek into it.
Cruz did good.
So far, and this confirms they are all inside of Heaven.
Wow. Nice shots. Okay, let's flame Talon a little bit. So, you got these 2 agents, right? And then we got, so we got insane combo, stun into damage. And then we got the most perfect info over towards B with a Yoru ult. So the Yoru ult in, but then they have set util where they like damage back a site, so he can get out of his ult to go back a site. But like, isn't it just better to reactively use this util instead of having set util? Because if no joke, if they stun close and they damage close, those 2 are dead. 100%. This didn't make sense, and this has to be a timeout because this doesn't make sense. But I also, this gives me This makes me worry a hell of a lot
they
for
showed
Talon,
how they were able to
because that's something that should be set down in practice.
Did pretty darn well on this map last week.
Yeah, I mean, Yudotan, of course, having so many impact multi-kills on that map of Split in their very first game against Team Secret. But today, it's just been across the board. It's just been really good holds, and I think Poppy with the timings alongside Kelly S on that deadlock. The deadlock has been finding a lot of value, and we'll see how Talon really plans to combat that. Early on, they were pretty good about drawing out that barrier mesh early, but then they didn't really have the clean mid round.
Yeah,
now they try to go for a rush. The barrier
I mean, you can be angry at
the
the team here,
but to support their teammate ban
in my personal opinion,
so where do they find
the coaches are at fault for that round. That is something that the team should already know.
You gotta do something about the sheer wall. You can't just assume that you'll be able to work
unless
around
they forgot.
it, that's a prime point of information and delay from the opponents on the defensive side.
Absolutely, I imagine what this timeout is for. So needing to kind of
in which case it would be angry.
But at the same time, the pressure, the stakes are rising.
I probably would have shouted to them so much in practice that they 100% know to do it.
Still in the hands of Primi, hasn't really found
okay, worrying signs for Talon, really, at the beginning. I will say that they're up against double duelists, so maybe they only need like 5? Wait, double sentinel even. Maybe they need like 5, but double duelist comp also normally compensates a little bit on attack and gets like 6, 7. Lord of ults and the grab net tanks 3 of them again, and they just get out of there with the nade. All gets used. Can they save him? Yes. That's a lot of ults used. Yudotan's a lunatic.
And Yudotan unfortunately falls to Governor. Governor now
I'm not sure about that one, my guy.
He's working against numbers.
Oh, it's all alone. I was gonna say, I mean, at the very least, they drew out a lot of the ults from the global side.
I think Talon need another timeout.
They can reset, but Governor was stuck.
He's just fresh out of one.
Talon tries to just buy time for him, and now he's the only one left. He's already used his showstopper, down to 86 health, trying to creep into the B site. If he gets a timing against Poppy, sure, but if not, this looks nigh impossible. And Poppy's just ready for it. He doesn't need to watch anywhere else because the rest of his team, is watching.
Oh, yeah.
Instantly, you would have spotted out the
absolute shocker for Talon.
Governor went up to
I think I would prefer them to play without ults at the moment.
Just the instant
with what's going on.
Not kind of the impact
and they kind of were in that other round with the Yoru ult. I see them pinging towards back of B, so I think they're going to do the set stuff that we saw in the B with the Yoru, but this time without the Yoru ult, and they're going to TP like it should have been meant to. Well, since the util suggested that that's what they normally do.
Okay, we're going to make the read that it's only one person, that there's going to be pressure elsewhere, and they're immediately ready to just crunch onto mid with an absolute.
What are we doing? Stun heaven, damage heaven, and the Raze is sending it.
Truly affords, but now, okay, starting things off.
Astra ult gets involved, so we...
You've been caught. Yudotan, yeah, he's ready for the swing out. I mean,
smoke to cover him over towards middle, Gravnet tanks them, so he has the space.
The sound from that Gravnet, shit, boys, takes a lot of damage.
In Talon's defense, like, Kelly S's util's been good, but I honestly don't want to defend him too much. It's been pretty bad.
Watching the exits of that smoke, Crystal up around the corners with the Outlaw. Yudotan from the top of heaven gunned down though, so a slight opportunity for Talon,
very nice.
Still kind of pinched into the site.
I don't want to call it out too early, but global pick split, and maybe Talon really early get exposed.
It's being sent into the smoke, and someone's already trained right at the edge of the smoke, so that when
and getting exposed and having a map this bad is
yeah.
And they're trying like the K Corp combos with the Astral, but it's just so obvious. Like it just doesn't work anymore.
Of one part of the map while destroying all the
Which is, you have someone backside, you see the TP going across.
Faster, but clearly that doesn't quite work out. Outlaw still in the hands of Crystal.
Yeah, gotta invest in Astra Smoke so they can cross, so we just straight up duel him.
Spots out the shoulder and instantly Governor's down.
Just look at how confident they are as well, right? Holding this wider off angle there with the Outlaw. You know it's an eco, and you know that they either have to invest a lot of their smokes ahead of time to try to gain space, or they're gonna have to go for these dry peaks. It's a very confident
these replays are so fast, dude. These rounds are so fast, it felt like, but you expect that with double duelist.
No answers found so far. Back into mid, you find the barrier mash as well. I mean, this space just in time. Straight into Kelly S. I spotted something out by the mini-map.
Oh, they hear that again, and then there's the pain shells. You know he's trapped. Okay, it's a good fight back, but eventually
we're still out here getting so much for the grab net. Guys, you got double dive. Let's just start hitting A site.
That it might almost be worth it for the coaching staff of Talon to call yet another timeout. I know it's already very late. But
yeah, no, I agree with that. I think you got to call another timeout.
You know, say what you want.
Just to see A hits.
I just don't think they have good answers in terms of how their util counters the defensive util, the delay util from Global Esports.
It really limits your options. If you're going to the defensive half this way, you're really trying to work.
Hello, Rossi. Yeah, mate. Oh my goodness.
So, you know, you need to find some kind of an answer. I mean, the previous round, sure, it's a little bit of an eco, but you still don't.
It's not an ideal start.
Like this, and you mentioned the whole thing with Kelly.
And the problem is that GE are just playing.
It's just so impeccable.
GE are just out here playing good, so they're going to punish this. Okay, just an A hit. This is honestly probably the best chance of getting around here. We've got 3 people over. We've got 1 in for trip close. We've got Nades Teva around the corner. Yeah, very, very nice. We've got another duelist, so he can take a TP.
Trying to set up for it now alongside this time, but unfortunately with their teammates down, you can't quite do too much with the
I will say, the GE calling pre-barrier there, they completely own them.
Things off out towards the exits.
And look at the fill onto the site from Global Esports. Because you had this trip over in heaven, they could buy time until someone arrived. And there's Kelly. Yes, he gets one. He plays it safe. Once again, extra delay until he gets more support over from the rafters. Now it's a double angle over on heaven. Talon is trapped right now by ramps.
Stall locked off. Might even be an effective crossfire, but a little bit of an angle, and Cruz is able to take one down, but straight back into the site, and that's Jitboy's downed. All left onto Cruz. I don't quite know how he's going to work around this. The sonic sensor is still there, and Jitboy's right around the corner
yeah,
too.
I mean, Talon need a hero play.
Yeah, Poppy's just going to wait.
This one's very doable.
Any sort of sound, any
but
util,
I like how Poppy's playing.
Spike, it's got to be a creep out.
Not giving a kill.
Not quite sure. He doesn't want to take this 1v1, and this is so heads up from Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, look at the pause.
Cruz has to check. It's a 1v3. He needs an extra kill. Look at this angle. It's so hard. He saw the gun barrel, and Poppy absolutely outplaying the IGL of Talon.
As much as we're hopping on about Talon not playing great, GE are playing good.
His team had the numbers advantage, right? Just to play in such a defensive spot, knowing that Cruz would have to clear or get the spike planted, right? Dropping down from heaven, for example. But then that would have been a 1v3. So just so incredible movements from a lot of
Recalling on this round was great though. They were so on top of this.
Cruz, I like that he
Have a nade at the beginning.
That was really the only option they had. But at the end of the day, you already lost too many of your teammates. And Poppy once again just holding strong
huge
over by the
ults.
B side.
And you have had them for a little bit. Get an outlaw out that can one-tap everyone. And we've got the attack op out.
But we'll see. For now, just still the gun's not quite truly on their side. A lot of them light shields, so this outlaw still wreaking havoc. Interestingly enough, though, the setup has changed.
Yeah, just a stack onto the B side. GE trying to get ahead of the read just a bit. You have that showstopper, and Poppy is going to get that first kill.
Oh, there goes your solo Astra.
Oh, but Crystal takes down Ban. Still no control over ramps. Yes, you took
we
mid,
gave
but
our
GE gifted it to
at least
you.
we gave our
op
25 seconds to search for a kill while everyone else is taking duels.
So good on the variety of plays, the defensive setups. Still, though, Operator will be able to fire back, so maybe a slight opportunity now. Stealth drone just to check, but Poppy's able to react so quick. Smokes up, and Governor is now blocked off. Has to try to maybe use the satchels to get over ahead of things. Showstopper coming through as well, but Udotan still able to stop and slow everything
again, shout out to GE. I feel like they're playing well. Dude, this might have been a 13-0 if GE had won the pistol.
Going into the last round of the first
didn't even think it would have been.
Talon.
Dude, you have so many ults now. Let's see the Euro ult, but this time let's do the Euro ult properly where we reactively use the util.
Like the Teo, really supplying those flashes and acting as that half initiator. I love the breach along with the Teo and the raise. It all makes sense up to that point, but you do have to go a bit all in.
Too aggressive by standards.
I
don't know what to say though, Rossi.
Hiding away in that corner.
You think I'm being too mean?
Spotted by the stealth drone, and they just don't expect that showstopper coming out.
They have tried to go all in on some of these rounds, but Kelly S alongside Udotan have been stopping that time and time again. Look at this.
We've got a wall. Someone's got to break the wall, but it's okay. You don't need to clear much. You still want backside. How do we react?
He hasn't checked backside. No! He hasn't sent for Poppy.
What?
Poppy's still holding in the back of sight. The panic coming through for Talon Pinchos, but he's going to skirt around it. He's still surviving. Crystal comes in for support, and now Talon's scattering across the entire map.
Oh, and there's a little gap for Poppy to stay alive in, but still flushed out of position. Jitboy is able to gun him down. He's towards the back now. It's all up for Global Esports to try to come in with yet another retake. 2-on-2, Cruz up from Evan. Unfortunately, Chipboys falls. He swings, and that's Darian to pick up the double kill at the end of it.
I mean, nicely done for GE. It was incredibly fast. It was incredibly fast half.
I mean,
but
on one part of it, when I saw the map draft,
I've never seen a Yoru look so weak into rounds.
A map against a team that always likes to cook up some crazy
when
things,
Fnatic plays similar
comp, and you're saying no, we're still confident that we know how to play this map, that we know that
the Yoru is literally the round they're 100% always win, because you get the info that the comp is sometimes lacking. This comp's a little bit better because obviously you have the drone of the tail.
Show and stretch its legs right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
so many times they
Talon are lost. Talon are a little bit lost. I agree with you. And
but at the end of it all, you got players like
playing
Poppy
good.
who are able to slow things down. You got Kelly,
so that's like making it look a little bit worse than it is. This
is
is one of the worst possible ways to start a tournament like this, where you might have a weak map, and you're aware you have a weak map.
So
and the enemy first game picks your weak map.
Would have loved to get just a couple more rounds
that's when it's a bit of a nightmare.
So ideally, a lot of people like to think they should have had more than 5, right? 6 or more on that attacking
This
map.
is GE's best map.
Frankly, I can still see a world where they would have been okay with maybe 4 rounds. But right now with 2,
dude, look at the vibe difference.
You're just not given a chance to showcase what you wanted to do on the defensive half. So it starts with the pistol, and then once they go from there, again, whether it's things like the trap plays with the fault line and then the salvos, you're going to have a little bit more control on when to use that utility rather than having to go blindly into an all-in with no info, right? That information lacking on this side was a big part of the downfall of Talon's attack, but on the defense, you can always have multi-layer trap plays and just react step by step.
That's definitely...
GE's weakest map is also next.
Just being able to have those
I mean, again, this can happen at the beginning of seasons when you've got a bad map.
Global Esports with a
it's just devastating to
more balanced
be exposed so early.
They get to kind of take their time with things and starting things off. It's going to be the Boombot down mid.
Oh, that's already a fault line out, though, so still 40 seconds now for Global Esports to make a move, and then you saw the blind side come out, too. So Flash gone, that's a big part of one of those trap plays. Now that's knocked out for the pistol.
Oh, holy, dudes. Nice shots, though.
Okay. Gets 2 out of 3,
their pistols are incredible, though. The individuals just
still, though, crazy individual
hitting shots.
Oh, and I like the group up here from Talon. They're not going to send everybody just because they want to know, are they heaven? Even if they plant A, are they all on site? So getting that information is good, but you have the numbers advantage, so staying grouped up,
this is a good
try
drone.
To make sure that they can combat
Spots 2, let's hope they don't tunnel vision too much. Darren's found a gap, found the timing, and bam, that is a nice shot though.
Just quick as well. Baronmaster trying to fend off stairs, but the salvos are going to
The
stall
2v4
and
at its
slow
peak.
them down. Everyone from Talon already grouping up into the site. Sight lines being held as well. Yudotan.
Yeah, and they isolate one back site.
Watch if anyone does peek
That's
out.
actually unreal pistols, hopefully.
It's all down to Kelly.
It's more just the aim of it.
Stunned up, able to take down Frankie at the very least, but then again,
pistols. 2-0, even though you probably wouldn't think that.
We'll just play to their advantage for Talon.
Let's see what they got on defense. Seems to be a little bit proactive, but not too much over the top.
Potentially, in theory, another round to go as well. So we'll see how they try to snowball that by. Good flick over from Ban. If they lost
how long is the VOD right now? 23 minutes and 30.
But they're able to keep that numbers advantage.
Starting things off with Jitboys especially towards the back of the side as well.
Yeah,
but
it's a fast one.
I mean, we have seen how
got the eco farmer, we got a judge.
In the previous half, but how are GE able to answer back? Still,
how does this comp want to hold middle?
Oh, and look at the A setup as well.
That's what I want to know at one point.
If Ban gets first contact, he's still going to fill the site. That's something to keep note of.
They can definitely, like the actual, when they want to fight middle, it's going to be awesome.
Push out from A main. Talon, they
I don't
just
think
want to
they
make sure
can
that they
do
have a
that every
multi-angle
round.
here on the retake. He's going to go ahead and take the gate crash, actually. Well, kind of leaves Cruz all alone.
Dude,
but Ban does get one to even the numbers.
Great chance to farm them all.
There it is, back in the elbow with the Marshall as well. So huge sight line, and he definitely spots things out. Goes for the repeat. That's a 3rd kill. Swaps over onto the ghost just for Adam Master. And this could be
nice. Well, he said he could farm them. They got a Euro on defense. They're going to bring out a classic K-Corp from the judge. And go over towards A, get the stun off.
That sacrifice on ramps just to delay them just a bit. Try to funnel them into heaven, of course, peeking out of that window. Nice and calm. We got to remember, Ban obviously used to play a lot of that jet as well. Used to play a lot of that op himself. He's used to playing these long-range angles, and that's something this team needed to try to get back into the game.
Yeah, you got to imagine it's such a huge morale boost, not to mention economy as well. He's onto the op this time.
So that op gonna bounce back and forth. Look at the gate crash already set up over on the A side, and it's a huge push-out trap play. They want to utilize the fact that
this is nice, and they're trying to force him into the op a little bit.
You into the operator's crosshair.
Yeah, taking so much space, ban straight into garage, but GE thinks better
Good
than
off
that,
angle.
just to kind of hold passively around 2 or around mid.
Really nice from Papi.
Poppy actually peeks into the
Ban's,
op. A good hold from Poppy.
Ban's really trying to make a play there.
Close to the wall, because you imagine, okay, if they're pushing that hard out of A, but they're not chasing.
Papi's gonna have a great year, man. He's very, very good.
Take risks. So I love the patience from Poppy to wait for that operator, and now that's a big investment gone.
Still though,
the judge re-clears all of the mid pressure. The drone goes out and sees a solo fade.
Quite a bit of information towards the mid side.
And Jit Boy's pinching in as well.
It's going to get really weird for Jit Boys. He's got a great flank, but he has a judge.
Over by ramps. You're still seeing just the fade util though, so no clear information. But Talon, the comms not quite there just yet. It's just Jit Boys trying to pinch through. So now you just have to hold and see if you can delay on the site and then go for a multi-pronged retake.
That is... Okay, lovely. Dude, help your team out.
But down on the side, Primi
yeah,
falls.
felt a bit
So
unlucky for Primi there because we had no stars for a little bit while he was focusing on the flank.
Well, Crystal up around the sides. Jit Boys with the Vandal now picked up, trying to create a little bit more havoc, trying to get a little bit more space for his team in with the stars. Bricks a little bit of down. Governor onto the Spectre, does a little bit more damage too, and Jit Boy swinging off the attention away, but then shut down by Kelly S. A bit of a spam through the screens, and unfortunately Cruz down to low HP.
I mean, it was a good try.
That is GE up to 11.
It was a good try.
Neat little thing that Yudo does there, right? He catches sight and then he
Happy with the off angle, kind of owned it.
Whether he hits him or not,
now they can do one of the kick plays.
Gets tagged quite a bit there as well, so he's already weak. But a nice little maneuver there from Yudotan. Jit Boys, if they won this round, he would have been the MVP of the round. Gets so much space, gets so much information.
Between Americas and now straight up sleeping, dude.
But unfortunately, they're not able to win that 2v2 at the end. Great teamwork from Kelly S and Yudotan. And that's going to be the second time out from Talon.
Yeah, that's one of those rounds where, you know, from
the
macro
it's must win.
Things looked so good for Talon. They could have
Guns JQ with the
bonus,
prime. Thank you for the 8 months. Thank you for that.
To try to pick up the pieces with this timeout.
GG. Oh yeah, I mean this map was pretty much done after I saw the Euro ult, but they can get it close, get some confidence.
And that was a match where Talon looked like they had a very good chance of taking it, but Leviathan, they wake up, they're still able to hold on to that win 2-0.
Would have been good rather than op for bonus. The op for the bonus was fine, and their whole plan around the like that whole plan around pushing them into the op was nice as well. You could argue that maybe he like hunted for it a bit too much, but he's got like shock factor of having an op. More just the fact that Papi is super ready for it.
They looked like they were experimenting a lot, trying to really hash out some of the issues they were having. Right now, we're not seeing a good result out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one hell of a run back when you think about it. You know, the coach is coming involved as well, but once again, it really is just Primi not quite having the opportunity so far. Hopefully on the defensive side a little bit more, and we start things off with just quite a bit towards mid again. Governor coming back into peak.
Yeah, very, very
risky.
Yeah, risky position, but still gets a lot of info, right? No double peeks there. Catches sight of one member over by
GE as well. Just I
like
this though that they got buddy systems on the side at the beginning in case they try the K-Corp. You just go spawn and then you'd have a stun on top of you and then you're TPing out. Well, sorry, you're getting out of the Euro. So they hold a default for a little bit, they leave their mates on the side and they go take over towards middle. Cruz is in spawn 2, done all the middle, off the contact of the judge so that we can nade or swing close. Jit Boys might be taking a 50-50 on B main with an Astra.
Good patience coming up from Cruz, but how long do you wait?
Ooh.
Trying to push them into heaven, right? You're saying, okay, the Euro's behind you, where do you go? But now over in heaven, Governor's able to get that one kill as well. Gate crash.
Might be a Melons round, let's see.
There's the fault line just to delay.
I'd be able to get over towards site. I would love Cruz to get on site. Very nice.
Well. They're gonna try to fill the
it's
site.
going to be a Melons.
I heard the time of it. Now you got to
3
worry
on
about the
site.
back as well. GE,
What a nightmare.
pressure's definitely on them. Trying to flood into the site, but
Flash,
look
double
at the
swing.
flash. It is ready. Primi holding on the sight lines as well. Elbow blocked off, down to the site. That's Cruz in with second kill.
Okay.
Primi onto the other as
GE,
well. And Talon
they did good
manages to
though.
strike back.
So they did good. We got 2-2-1.
Talon this time,
And then the problem is when you're doing this and you're waiting for some kind of play like that, you got to force something a little bit more, especially when they're stalling over towards middle. So they just kind of had to send it a little bit more. So like the first 30 seconds, that's 20-30 seconds I'm a fan of. And then they just took it a little bit.
The entire time, so you don't know, did Poppy, or did we see Jit Boys push out? Is he going to go for a trade? We're not quite sure, so let's stick with mid. But then you lose your raise as well, so now you're just caught in mid, and then it's a timing play from Talon, and they're starting to find some footing.
Just a little bit. Now with the guns as well, hopefully able to keep a bit of a streak going. GE a little bit passive though. The alt orb.
Whoa.
The swing.
Okay.
Look at that.
The bay out.
Towards the back.
And a lovely jump peek, spots all 3 on the radar.
Governor as well. I love the close range paint shells in case they decided to
Oh.
pile on, and Uniton still gets a long range fight. He is onto the site.
A quick reaction. Jit Boy is able to kind of
It's good though from Jit Boys, even though it looks a little bit mad, he's dueling out to make sure that he doesn't pick up the gun.
Gunned down.
Wow, I think that's the first time
I'm not
I've
sure you
really
won't be
seen
doing
the
that
grab
against the
net
eco,
right into the repeak. Being able to land that shot so easily 1v1 works out for Kelly S. Usually we see it obviously some more for set plays and trap plays. They will be able to recover the spike as well. Obviously weaponry not on their side. However, Annihilation available. If GE wanted to try to make a play for map point, which I would not mind, you're 6 rounds ahead. I would like to see a little bit of risk taking, because if you use the Annihilation, limit them down to a 2v2,
You want
now
to use it all in this round?
Still though, not too much information on where their opponents might be. Right now, having to check and clear a lot of the corners, so a bit of a double peek in towards Mail, but it's the setup high-low from Talon.
They started going aggro info hunting with the 2.
Starting to catch
See,
up.
oh boy,
has to remember
we
that
got a
they're not
lot of ults
However,
for GE.
once again, lots of ults online. Is it going to be an ult dump on this round? It looks like it. They're set up all
Why is the spike
5
there?
onto
It wasn't
the
too
site.
bad.
You're seeing the pings and where they want
They
to
got
clear. Perhaps
it's kind of
over
just
for
to give them
that TP,
options.
try to clear things off,
It's
or
an
they just wanna
eco.
check that cubby. We'll see what the play is.
They were committing over towards B main, committing over towards A main.
The real question is going to be
Like
Talon's
the spike
response.
down
You're
there's fine.
looking at the scoreboard, you see all these ultimates online.
Watching
They're
the
gonna
China
leave
final?
A relatively
Nah,
empty,
not
so it's
today,
going to be a
sorry.
retake. You have that rolling thunder.
Gonna stick with
you have the Cosmic
Pacific.
Divide as well.
I was just watching,
like
trying to see
fast
like
push
who
out of
makes
mid.
it to
You really just
Masters.
wanna
That's what I
force them
focus on more.
into one of the sites.
Yeah, G makes a thing for it. So straight into the A site, and instantly Ban kind of leaves it open. So a bit of a retake setup. The off shot does take one of the players down as well, so that's instant value too.
Okay, instantly lose sight. We drone and we breach all, but we breach all sight, so there's a good chance.
Jit Boys kind of avoids it. I mean, Poppy avoids it for now, so maybe a little bit of an opportunity. Uniton able to spam and spray through as they all try to push out off of the rolling thunder. Now it's all down to just Ban. And he's got
the Astral
out,
absolutely
takes
wrecked
him
him.
down once again. It is GE
Absolutely
up to
wrecked
point.
Poppy with the perfect timing on the Cosmic Divine. Completely ruins the rolling thunder. Talon wanted to try to wrap into the site ASAP. You look at the angle, it wasn't just for ramps. It was actually saying, we don't care if there's someone on the lurk, we're going to push into the site. But then they all get stopped. They're not quite sure how to peek out of this. And the way the Cosmic Divide, look at this, you peek out of it, you still have to take the 50-50 afterwards. There's a little bit of that distance right next to the wall. It makes it such a nightmare to peek out, and now GE at 12.
Okay,
so
6 chances.
That rolling thunder not connecting, so now huge opportunity, especially with some of the ultimates right now. Talon though still trying to fight back. They take space outside of garage.
See how long they wait though. It's a double team, so they want to try to set up a trap play, but this is what Poppy is doing the entire map.
Poppy's inside his monitor.
The rest of his
I
team
just
gets
looked
information, and then he sees what is the reaction. Is it
Bro
a push out or is
legit
it
in
not?
the game.
Catch a sight. I think Crystal did too, given his jiggle.
Any EMEA today? No, I think it's only Pacific today.
They want to push this out. They have to, because given their composition, they need to fight to take space and get information.
Trying to go in for it. I mean, all 3 of them trying to go in for maybe the trade setup as well, right? Peeking off of each other. But the Boombot now comes out, just defend even more of them back. Peeking out of the cage, unfortunately, the timing of it all, it's just a setup for GE to react back into the utility that they sent through. Primi tries to stay alive into the corner, a bit of a one and done. He's able to get away with 2, but it's still not enough.
Jit Boys still owning a sheriff as well. See if he can get in range to pick anything up, but Poppy looks like he's ready to shut that down. Now look at the positions. I mean, GE already
GG's.
just pick off
Maybe
these
they can still get a
1v1s.
gun here.
Over by Poppy. He's not looking. Shit Boys, does he find a timing? He does! Now a 2v1. 1v1 down to Crystal versus Shit Boys.
Just trying to hold her
Time's kind of low. You got to start to smoke out.
Dude,
Dude, look at that timing from Crystal. That's wild. Just as he went to peek over towards site. Okay, 2-0.
Really well played from
13-6.
GE,
It's obviously really not a good month for them. You kind of saw it at the beginning with what was going on. Very good map for them. Dude, this might be
to take over areas and then hold on to it, but they hesitated. They said
because people are saying that the next map's G's worst map as well, so
and Crystal's able to
might be one of those stomps into a good third map.
So we're gonna have to see a little bit of retooling from Talon, but
Nasia, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate the 100 bits.